My name is Julian. Welcome to the Legacy Premier League Season 4, sponsored by Wizards of the Coast card hoarder Scott Monroe and in collaboration with Liquipedia. With me tonight is Eric Landon for our live recording of Everyday Journal, episode number 67. No, just kidding. We are running the second week of this year's, or rather, maybe that's going to be more. Anyway, but that's called this season's Legacy Premier League. And tonight we are going to have a little bit of a special stream, I want to say. As you can see, Eric and I, we have lost a lot of pixels. We are down to 50 by 50 pixels, but looking good, looking good. So what's happening tonight is we're going to play all of our matches. You're going to see everything live. You're going to see all the hands from both players. You're going to have all the sweet pixel art. The only thing that you're missing will be commentator webcams, which some of you might even consider a bonus. So there's that. Just because, we're dealing with a special situation right now. We're streaming from our DC studio as opposed to our California studio, which is like much better equipped. So I think Anorak actually just went down to some shop and bought 2 monitors or something to set everything up because apparently like a meteor crashed on his studio. So this is what we're doing. Should be fine. If you are looking forward to the matches, we're gonna get to them in a minute. But I wanted to basically get that out there so you guys know that you're deal with Eric and me in pixel form and all the future commentators. So tonight, Eric, how's it going? I think you just finished your stream.
Yeah, I finished early so I could come and commentate with you
awesome.
on round 1. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Yeah, we're going to have some amazing matches, and the group stage format is also going to be interesting because tonight we're not dropping any players. Tonight people are fighting to get into either the winner bracket or the loser bracket because our entire system, the way it works, maybe we can show it on screen right now, is that we have 16 players in 4 groups, and half of them are going to proceed to the winner bracket, and half of them are going to proceed to the lower bracket. So even if you finished dead last tonight, you're still got a chance to get there. So yeah, here we got it. So you see, we got Pleasant Kenobi against Michael Bonde, and we got Bryant Cook, our previous season's champion, against Caleb Durward, our first season's champion. Wow, this is, I mean, I want to say this is stacked, but like literally every group in this year is super stacked, right? Eric, I think we are actually facing off against each other in our group, so that's also going to be something to look forward to. Whom do you like today?
I picked Michael Bonde, but that was without seeing deck list, and now I think after seeing deck list, I'm still going to go with Michael Bonde.
Yeah. I mean, from what the players told me, I can't really say that, but he put a lot of work into trying to out metagame the opponents. Like there's people like Bryant, for example, whom you would put on Storm, or there's Caleb, whom you would put on a Shadow stack. And I guess Pleasant Kenobi Vincent is more like a wild card. He could be playing anything. Last season he played, was it like Mono Red Stompy Control? I mean, that's what you get here as well, right? People get to try something. But yeah. So let's see what Twitter thought. There's a poll that I ran earlier today, and we're gonna figure out. Oh yeah, this. Whom did he say you picked?
I picked Michael Bonde, who's in dead last.
So I mean, according to the masses, right?
Yes.
Yeah. To a certain degree, it's like a popularity contest, I want to say, but there's also something in there, right? Maybe Michael is not as known in the US as the others, but on the other hand, you can't really go wrong with picking Caleb, who's done pretty well in most of the seasons, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if any of them win, but I know Bryant won last year. They're all good candidates, but I just picked Michael Bonde.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? I've known Michael for a long time. He's certainly one of the best players I ever faced off against. But yeah, by the looks of things overall, and this is kind of like part of the reason why we're running this league with so many players that have proven themselves in Legacy, is it's kind of even, right? There's nobody who's sticking out as, oh my god, this is the 80% guy, and then we got a couple of 10%ers and somebody of 0. But yeah, let's see what people are playing tonight. So for our first match, we got Vincent, Pleasant Kenobi against Michael Bonde. And Michael Bonde has brought a deck to the table that's certainly part of his range. We still call it 4-color Loam. That's the title I gave it because how many Loams? Oh yeah, you mentioned this earlier, right? How the name is finally correct now?
Yeah, there's one Loam, so it's 4-color and a Loam.
I wonder how long we're gonna stick to that because the deck went from something like initially playing 4 Loams and quite different variations down to 2, and now we're down to 1. It's just at a certain point, it's just like it's a token Loam. It's just there to justify the name. But yeah, 1 Tarmogoyf as well. Is this something you could see yourself running on your stream?
It's always in the back of my mind that maybe this, because there's certain metagames where it seems to be very well positioned, but I don't know if I've ever actually even played a single league with it online. I've played some games with it in paper. I find it to be, in paper, it's kind of difficult because you have so many things to keep track of. You have Dark Confidant, you've got Knight of the Reliquary. These are, well, Dark Confidant is something to keep track of. Knight of the Reliquary is an activated ability. And then you've also got Chalice of the Voids that you have to keep track of. You got Sylvan Libraries, and those, the way you stack those with your Dark Confidence. There's like so many things every turn, as well as your Loam, and yeah, it's just like so many different things every single turn to remember to do.
I think that's also part of the draw towards the deck. I think 4-color Loam is a deck that's never really super bad against both decks, but also rarely ever outstanding. And I think that's part of the reason why I think over all 4 seasons, this must have been one of the most registered decks in the entire league. Nothing really that stands out otherwise, except for like the interesting Tarmogoyf split in the main deck and the sideboard, when you just like 100% more Tarmogoyf in your life. I can see why it's there, right? You want more beatdown, you want more threats, even to a certain degree. But I talked to Michael before the matches tonight, and he said that he was really trying to out mitigame everyone. He put Bryant on a Storm deck, so he'd figured, okay, having Chalice in the mix is fine. He put Vincent on Mono-Red Stompy, which he came very close to registering, actually, he told me, but he didn't. And he put Bryant on something with Chalice, so he wanted to play a deck that's good against Chalice, while also having the option of dropping Chalice 0 against all these Chalice decks that Caleb often plays. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is what Michael's playing. So let's see what Vincent Pleasant Kenobi has brought to the table. Oh boy, this was a pain. This was such a pain to format when I formatted that list earlier today. There's so many cards in here, so many one-offs.
Yeah.
It's Bond Food Chain. It's somewhat different from the Bond Food Chain lists that we've seen recently. I streamed one that didn't have Noble Hierarchs, and half the stream was me saying, hey, I wish I had Noble Hierarchs in the deck. So this is it. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this is going to work. Eric, do you mind explaining how the Food Chain combo works for people who haven't seen that yet?
Sure. So the food chain combo is you get out the namesake card, which is Food Chain. It's a 3 mana enchantment, 2 colorless and a green, and it says you can exile a creature you have in play, and you add mana to your mana pool. That is the converted mana cost of the creature that you sacrifice plus 2. It's plus 1. What can you remember?
1, yeah.
Plus 1. So let's say you play out your Noble Hierarch on turn 1, you play out your Food Chain on turn 2, you sacrifice your Noble Hierarch. Now you have 2 mana. You can only spend it on creatures, though. So you have 2 mana that you can play another creature with, and then you play your Ice Fang Coddle. That's 2 mana. You draw a card with that. You sacrifice that. Now you've got 3 mana. You play your Recruiter of the Guard. You sacrifice that. Now you've got 4 mana. And you get a... Recruiter of the Guard can't get a Miss Hologriffin.
Yeah, not this one, right?
Yeah, but anyway, eventually you get Miss Hologriffin. Miss Hologriffin can be cast from exile, so you can keep casting it for extra mana every time you exile it, and you recast it from your exile, and you can make infinite mana that way. And then you use that Recruiter the card that you cast earlier to search up a Walking Ballista for infinite damage.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways. You can also go for example, the Hydrate Cresses, which gives them, I think, infinite life. And well, you don't really want to go for infinite card draw. I guess that would kill you still. But that finds the Trinket Mage or Walking Ballista. So yeah, it's basically like a decent mid-range deck. It also has some planes in there, and it can there's a lot of games that you win just by beatdown, especially against Delver decks. You can just run out your Mr. Griffins, which are 3/3s that, if you get a way to get rid of them from the battlefield, for example, by sacrificing them to Food Chain, they will keep coming back. That's kind of cool. So yeah, who do you see ahead here? I got a strong favorite that I want to hear your opinion first.
I would say the 4-color Loam deck is favored against most blue decks, but this blue deck doesn't have that many cards that are affected by Chalice of the Void, so it can easily play through that, and it has an I win combo. So I think that I would guess the food chain deck is probably favored.
Yeah, I totally agree. When I look at Michael's list, I think the only card that Pleasant Kenobi really cares about. I mean, yes, there's Chalice when you keep a hand full of brainstorms, but the only card that you really care about is Abrupt Decay on your food chain, because otherwise they can't really stop you. Punishing Fire doesn't do it. Any other removal spell doesn't really do it. So yeah, there's that. Maybe he can get some kind of recursion going on with what's it called, Blast, but that requires like infinite mana and land drops, so that's probably not going to happen. So yeah, I agree. I think Vincent is favored here. He might take it down. This is actually a European battle, right? This is Great Britain against Denmark, so it's quite late for both players.
Yeah, I think it'll be really close though, because he does have 4 abrupt decays, and you can abrupt decay the food chain, slows them way down. He also has a lot of mana disruption, and Pleasant Kenobi's got lots of basics. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, cool. So let's get into the match and see how it's gonna play out. Okay, so we got Michael on the play, and like we mentioned, deck lists are known, so Michael knows that he's up against Bond Food Chain, even though I'm not sure whether he has played against it thus far. Interesting hands. Like Michael has an really, like, this is probably the worst keepable hand, but in this matchup, the Punishing Fires are really not great. Or generally, like, having 3 Punishing Fires when you got Growth of the Burnverse already, I wouldn't be surprised if he sent it back.
Yeah, I'm not at all surprised that he mulliganed that. Too many Punishing Fires.
Yeah. This one, it's not great, but I mean, it's great in a vacuum, I guess, but
yeah,
you probably got to keep this. You can't really have
probably
Abrupt
keeps
Decay
it.
your entire game plan.
You feel pretty bad about it because you can't actually get your mana going with Ren unless you. So I think he probably ends up like leading on a land on a green black that he can like cycle and try and find a red source so he can get his mana going, get knights and stuff. Seems like a reasonable game plan.
He needs to put back a card. I wonder whether he's going to put back an Ooze or a Knight. I think I might actually put back a Knight, just because you got the Ren Cycle Land engine, which could be okay.
Yeah.
And on Pleasant Kenobi's side, so what do we have over there? Like, it's very top heavy. He's got 3 4-drops. But if he ever finds some kind of acceleration, he can go for the combo early on-ish, even though he doesn't really have infinite anything to do with the mana, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's way too slow.
Yeah, it's definitely too slow. His deck can produce much better hands, right?
I would be concerned about
think he
this
might
card and Liliana of the Veil and Abrupt Decay. I just feel like there's so many things that punish a do nothing until turn 3 hand. It looks like he kept though.
He can always draw into something like, I guess he finds a Noble Hierarchy here. This is already pretty close. Something I like about something I like about Pleasant Kenobi's list that we haven't talked about yet is he's got the Wenza in. Like, that's tech from 2014 from Joe Dossett. He's got Caracas, he's got Wenza, so he can actually create a really strong endgame if he ever gets there or needs to go there.
Yeah.
So
I bet we'll see a Bayou here cycling, hoping to hit a red source would be my best guess.
So basically you want a green and a black. Yeah, that's a Bayou. It's somewhat unfortunate. I think you could have also led on the Swamp and cycled and then seen what you find there. But yeah, he also knows that he's not facing any wastelands.
Hitting a turn 2 Ren and 6. Yeah, there you go.
True. Oh, you're such a good player. I totally missed that you wouldn't get Ren and 6 if you did that. Okay, now I actually, with Bonde basically drawing 2 cards a turn and having the Abrupt Decay, I don't hate where he is.
Yeah, and like I said, Pleasant Kenobi's hand looked really slow, and now, I mean, he drew a second food chain, so he's not just going to lose to the first Abrupt Decay, but with the Knight getting going next turn, I think it's going to be actually pretty hard unless he draws a Force of Will soon.
Yeah, the Knight is going to be a 5/5, which can close out the game pretty quickly. It's also going to be convenient. Eventually, Michael can drop the Ooze while keeping up Abrupt Decay. Second Ren 6, not exactly great unless you want to finish off your opponent with. But
Scavengers also isn't great because you don't want to exile their mist hologriffins.
You get a +1/+1 counter on your creature, and your opponent basically draws a card. I don't like that. Let's see. So what is Vincent looking to draw here? I initially mentioned Noble Hierarch, but that's not really gonna do it, right?
Yeah, now he needs to draw lands, basically. He needs to draw a 4th land. That was a good draw too.
Yeah, that's gonna buy him a lot of time. Eventually, it's gonna be really awkward once Michael gets the emblem of Red and 6, he can cast infinite prop decays. Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's gonna be something.
I'm a little surprised that Michael Bonde didn't play the Knight of the Reliquary. I wouldn't be too worried about food chains, so I'm not sure why he left the mana up, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, I mean, there's a world where Vincent goes Noble Hierarch into Eternal Scourge into kill, but that's super unlikely, especially since he didn't play a
Well, he
Hierarch on the
couldn't.
first
He
turn.
couldn't play out the Hierarch and the food chain in the
Oh,
same
you're
turn.
right. You're right. You're right. It's still his third turn.
So I guess
There must be something.
He just wants to draw cards, I think.
Oh, makes sense, right? So he gets to abrupt decay something and draw a card, so he gets to use his mana. I would have certainly liked the Knight because this, like you mentioned, would have been a good window to do it.
I don't think he has the mana to cycle here, though.
The perils of running 4 colors. Liliana. I wonder if you're going to see Liliana or Knight. Looks like he's leaning towards Liliana even. It's gonna be plus for Aegis. So basically, he's saying, okay, I'm gonna win by disabling all your land. Like, I need to not do anything for. Oh god, I guess it's still 3 more turns. That's gonna be a little rough.
Oh, he's discarding the swords, but I'm not sure. He hasn't played the Knight yet, so I'm not sure when he's going to. We'll see.
Yeah, I think at this point, I think Michael understands the matchup pretty well. I think his plan is actually run Emblem and then have Abrupt Decay up and know that he can't really lose from there. Yeah, Abrupt Decay, I wouldn't be surprised with punishing if I hit the bin of Liliana now.
Well, I mean, if Pleasant Kenobi gets a land, I think the game's pretty much over.
But Michael found the Abrupt Decay that he needed to stop that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Because the reason I was saying that is because he would just play out his Miss Hologriffins and bounce the Ren and 6, and then I don't really see how.
Yeah,
Bonde would have gotten out from under that. But hitting an Abrupt Decay there is, again, that also might be close to. It'll be difficult to win from here for.
It's actually kind of cool how close Vincent actually still came to winning this. He actually would have needed to draw a blue source. Or this one would have done it, right? Because it's also infinite mana, but there's the timely Abrupt Decay. And this was much closer than I expected it to be just 1 turn ago.
Yeah. Well, that second Abrupt Decay was really important.
Watch Vincent rip another. I was gonna say another Pleasant Kenobi. No, rip another food chain from the top.
And this Punishing Fire gets to deal with the Scourge, even if only for a turn.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, right? Punishing Fire gets countered, Scourge goes into exile. So, yeah, I think Michael is thinking about this right now. He's basically spending the Punishing Fire, so he's forcing Vincent to spend 3 more mana to get the thing into play, so food chain from the top next turn isn't lethal. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think getting it out of the way for your Planeswalkers is good too, and then using the plus on Liliana rather than the minus.
I wonder if Michael, actually he's probably not going to ultimate it, right? Because he still needs that.
Yeah, he has a second.
He goes.
He has another Ren and 6, so ultimating is pretty good if as long as the opponent doesn't have a Force of Will.
Awesome. Oh, good thing that we can actually see the opponent's the player's hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a fair assessment for him to think that his opponent doesn't have a Force of Will at this point in the game, because he would have cast one by now, so he would have had to draw it in the last turn or two, I think.
Yeah.
That's why he's plussing first too, to just make it so if he does get Force of Will, he only has 1 card remaining.
Not Silent Bob makes a good point in the chat that if he had killed the Scourge with Liliana, then the Scourge would actually be in the graveyard and couldn't be recast.
Which thing kills it? Oh,
And
yeah, okay.
because of the
That's
sack
true.
effect, which is kind of cute. I like it. On the other hand, you get to plus Liliana this way and get even closer to the ultimate. I kind of like how Michael took a line that's completely different from what we initially played, and that is not to rely on the knight, but really just leverage his planeswalker ultimates.
Yeah, and like here, I would have kept the knight in my hand and discarded the land, because the knight does completely stop the 3/3. I guess the Liliana already does that too. But yeah, he's completely ignoring his. I like to attack, so like I will always be looking for a way to close out a game, and I can see that Michael Bonde is looking for a way so that he won't lose to food chains. This seems to be working out pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder how he's going to approach the second game. We already like pointed out, right, how abrupt decay is the main way of interacting in the first game and how you have to heavily lean on it. And we saw a timely abrupt decay from the top that we really needed to actually close the game for, likely close out the game for Michael, right? There's trying to come up with something that Pleasant Kenobi could draw here, but there's not really much.
Yeah, Force of Will's a little bit late here. Force of Will interacts really well with the Miss Griffin because you can play the card that you exiled from your exile, but it's looking a bit too late for that value to likely matter much.
Oh, it's so nice, right? When you get to Force of Will something for basically just 1 life, it's like, counter this, pay 1 life.
Yeah.
It feels so good. Not gonna lie, it's one of the reasons why people enjoy playing the deck so much. For a good reason, I want to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Vincent's still stuck on 3 mana, can't cast any of his 4 mana spells. Actually, would Chase do anything on this table? Not really, right? It dies to Punching Fire pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think the best card in his hand is the Venser. Because the Venser can at least get rid of a Liliana. I mean, I don't think he's has many ways to win from here. I don't see it.
Yeah, like a classic Venser versus Liliana interaction from back in the day when like Top Miracles was everywhere, and was when the Liliana or Chant player didn't have any cards left, and plus the Liliana, then you would flash in the Venser, bounce the Liliana, and Liliana would basically discard herself to her own ability. That's kind of cool, but I don't think we're really gonna see that here.
No, probably not. What was that?
Oh, that was some animation.
Nice. I like it. I
okay,
like
we're
the
gonna
animation.
find for it.
It looks like Pleasant Kenobi's picked up his 4th land.
Finally, okay. So let's see what he's gonna do with it.
Not
like there's a world where he runs out Griffins, like, but that doesn't really do it, right? You can just like Punching Fire the Griffin and then minus run and 6 on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he needs to use that Venser, and then he needs to draw a Force of Will for the Liliana. So he needs to bounce Liliana, and then he needs to force it, and then he somehow needs to beat the Ren and 6. I don't see it happening.
I mean, hashtag never give up, never surrender. Maybe there's a world, but I don't really see it right now. I think the game might end as soon as Liliana ultimate, because once you
should have played out that land, even though it's a fetch land.
Yeah,
so I think it would have been safe to play it out. I don't know what an extra land the next turn would have done to help either, but yeah, things are looking grim.
Liliana goes ultimate, then you get to keep 2 lands and play your 3rd land on the next turn, whereas if you play it, you only get to keep 2 lands. I guess that could be one of the reasons. Oh no, now we have the character ascension. Unfortunately, too late to really do something. But it's a kind of cute late game thing that doesn't really cost you a lot, considering that you're in Bond already, so you're not even adding an off-color land. Somebody's asking, chat, can you fire yourself? I guess you can. It's never come up for me, but
yeah, it's like a bolt. You can point it at anything.
I like how the expression on the pixel art avatars is basically how I imagine both players to look in the game right now. Like, Michael is like, yes, come on, let's do this. And Pleasant Kenobi is like, come on, I can do this. There must be something.
Imagine if Kenobi had a Noble Hierarch in turn 1. Like, this game would have gone so completely differently.
Definitely agree. That's also why I felt when I played the list without Noble Hierarchs, that's the first card I want to add. You know, when the Deathwatch Chain was still around, how Bug Food Chain was like a pretty decent deck? And that deck utilized Death Gems so well. You even got
Yeah.
to exile your own Mist Hologriffins from your graveyard to gain life and basically put them back into your hand. It was
Yeah, I mean,
so
that was a
insane.
big part of the deck. That was a big part of the deck. I mean, that's one of the mana acceleration and that are like almost equal for what the deck lost. Like I've seen people playing Relic of Progenitus so that they can keep using their discarded or killed Mist Hologriffins.
Yeah. So Liliana's ultimate has been avoided for a turn by bouncing her with Bronzer, and if it's up to Vincent, he can do that again as soon as he finds another. Well, basically he can use Caracas already, but I think Liliana will just come down in minus.
Well, he also has a
should be
punching fire will deal with the fencer.
Yeah, you could even plus her, right? If you wanted to, you can double punching fire on the Bronzer.
I think fencer's a 2/2, isn't it?
Oh, it's a 2/2. Yeah, right. In my head was like a 4/4, which would be like insane.
Yeah.
I think the knight is gonna make short work here. It's pretty big, I want to say. Actually, it's not pretty big. It's only like a 3/3, something like that. But it can get big anytime if you drop your fetch land and then your cycle land. It's gonna turn to a 5/5.
Yeah,
and it looks like Michael's gonna level it up.
It's so small because Bonde's Renin 6'd back all of his lands into play.
So yeah, this is it. So this is the first game. And now we're going to see how both players are going to sideboard. And so do you want to take a look on the right side? I'm going to take a look on the left side so we get to catch everything. So what do we have? Oh, this view is making it harder to actually see what they're sideboarding. Anyway, so Engineer Explosive goes out for Vincent, and the guy who basically does Oblivion Ring or something. It's the sphere on a stick. Goes out, and what does he bring in? Let's see. He's not sure either, I guess. Do you see anything interesting on Bonde's side?
On Bonde's side, I see no cards in the sideboard worth bringing in, and I don't see him bringing any in.
Oh, interesting. Vincent is actually taking out 3 of his Farciphers.
I would consider maybe on Bonde's side, but again, I like to attack. I would consider maybe Tarmogoyf. Like, I don't know. I feel like you need to close out games. Okay, yeah, he's bringing in a Assassin's Trophy, so that's like going to be his 5th but counterable answer to Food Chain. So that's not surprising.
Makes sense.
But I don't see anything else that's like easy. I mean, he's got Swords to Plowshares; those aren't really good, and yeah.
Vincent is looking at a ton of cards to bring in. He's looking at Vendilion Click. He's looking at, it's hard to see for me, but I think it might be another Night of Autumn. Pithing Needle might be a Scavenging Ooze. He's also looking at Surgical Extraction. So he's really trying to. He's taking out Brainstorms. Okay. Oh. No, he he shoves them back in again. It's like, no,
that must be.
We're gonna keep this.
I think if I were him, I wouldn't too over sideboard. I would just kind of keep pretty close to the same thing and just not worry too much about the fact that he lost game 1, because I think he's pretty favored if he doesn't if he doesn't mess up his deck too much. But I don't hate siding out the Force Wills. I don't think, because
yeah, it looks like he goes for a much more mid-range, late-game focused thing. The only thing that I also noticed, the Benza is going out, which is somewhat counterintuitive to that, but he's not bringing the Surgical, which basically, like, his deck is not. I mean, yeah, his creatures are vulnerable to punishing fire, but once you get your combo going, it doesn't really matter whether your opponent gets the punishing fire stuff.
I think if I were him, I'd side out some, if not all, of the Swords to Plowshares, and then just because I don't think he needs to kill that many creatures, and I think if his opponent ever plays like a 3-drop, he can likely set up a game where if his opponent taps out, he can untap and win.
Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out.
The only creature you really care about is Dark Confidant if you want to play the long game.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vincent on the play. Are we gonna see the elusive turn 2 kill? It actually requires something like 2 Noble Hierarchs.
So he did. Bonde did bring in the second Tarmogoyf. Okay, I'm not too surprised about that.
Yeah, I don't hate it. On Vincent's side, I think Vincent needs to close chat. Okay, perfect. So I don't know. I can't look at these hands without Noble Hierarch and think, hey, cool. I just like I'm such a sucker for acceleration.
Right. Well, I think this time his hand looks like a reasonable hand. He's got a brainstorm, he's got a 2-drop, he's got a removal spell, but it doesn't look like a food chain deck. It looks like some kind of value deck, but it looks like he's already mulled. So I think it's pretty easy keep if he's already mulled.
Yeah, I wanted to call it like this is what my cube decks look like. My really good cube decks. Like it has a lot of good cards, a lot of value, and we'll see how it's gonna work out. I wonder what you're gonna get with Trinket Mage if you're really just doing value. Walking Ballista not that great against Micah. I think there's not much he can get, at least from the main deck. I think he has. Didn't he bring a Needle? I think I might have seen something like Needle.
Yeah, and
So that could stop like a Planeswalker.
Bonde's opening 7 looked great, by the way. He's got his Mox Diamond, which is really good in this deck, and he's got 2 threats, an Abrupt Decay, and a Liliana. So he's got it all basically.
It looks like a 4-color threshold deck where you can go like turn 1 Tarmogoyf, turn 2. But actually, you would probably go to turn 2 Liliana, depending on what Pleasant Kenobi does. But yeah, the pressure is going to be real.
I think you're right about
Vincent,
it looks like Vincent's waiting for a Bob to swords, unless he's just waiting till this turn. But I think I like not swordsing the Tarmogoyf at this moment.
Yeah, I think he eventually, like once a chalice comes down, you will do it in response or when it becomes too big. But I kind of like doing it like this as well.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I would have probably expected Michael to play the Confidant turn 1 if he had it, just because it's such a big thing.
Now this I'm a little bit surprised about. Because now he doesn't have any white mana for the swords. But he does get to draw a card.
Yeah.
And he does have a brainstorm, so there's a good chance he'll find white.
The thing about white is if you fetch white here, you don't get to have enough snow permanence, and you expose yourself a little bit more to a wasteland. But on the other hand, of course, the upside is that you get to play all your spells.
Yeah, that's why I was a little surprised to see him flash in the Ice Fang Coddle there, because it doesn't have Death Touch, so it's not really going to block.
It's kind of sad how Loam is the worst. Actually, you know what Loam does here at Grow? If you even want to like get it back in the first place, I think you might just rather draw a card once you play it. It's probably going to be a while until you play it.
It's definitely no Ren and 6, right?
Oh,
Ren and 6, you get your draw step and you get to loan back 1 card, and that's like, I mean, you only really need 1 in this deck anyway. So
when Ren and 6 was spoiled, and we talked about it on Everyday Channel, I remember saying I was really looking forward to the card because I was hoping there'd be like a new old school aggro Loam, like Archie aggro Loam with, I don't know, Seismic Assault and, well, not Curd Ape anymore, I guess, but something like that. But instead, we just got Rug Threshold, or I guess Rug Diver, NBC Diver playing this card, and yeah. Can't really say much about the card. It's very strong.
So he found the white source. He found Noble Hierarch, but turn 3 Noble Hierarch's not that exciting. But at least he's got an answer to Tarmogoyf. But I think his hand does not look very good here. Pleasant Kenobi's hand against Bonde's.
I guess he gets to shuffle next turn with Trinket Mage if he wants to. I could also see running out the Griffin, so you can put pressure on Liliana. And you're not that far off from winning, right? If you get to shuffle and you find a food chain.
Yeah, he's got to find a food chain.
Yeah. But you have to assume your opponent doesn't have Abrupt Decay if you go for it.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because he's also got this Liliana making him discard a card every turn.
I wonder if the Liliana is actually going to discard the Swords to Plowshares here. If like the greedy play would be to discard the land and be like, I can always find it. So Vincent's looking to, I think, discard the Trinket Mage. I saw him hover his mouse over it.
I think he really needs that shuffle. What does Trinket Mage find?
Only
a Ballista.
Well, Needle. Yeah, Ballista, and I think he brought a Needle. I'm not sure.
I think it might be worth it to try and find the Needle then, because I think drawing the 2 lands is going to be bad news.
Yeah, the additional shuffle effect definitely does something for you.
But the Griffin, 3/3 flying, you can probably deal with Liliana. He's got his swords for the threat that's in play now. He doesn't know that Bonde has 2 more massive threats coming down. Okay, you got rid of the land. I think that seems pretty good.
I like that too, yeah. Tarmogoyf should be pretty big here, right? We got land, instant, sorcery, creature, 4 or 5, something like that.
I like this attack first because there's a chance. Yeah. All right. So there's a chance he takes it again. Worrying about something like
Yeah.
About a Bob or whatever. I'm a little surprised to use the Abrupt Decay on the Noble there instead of just playing another Tarmogoyf. But I guess he didn't want to leave up the Abrupt Decay for Food Chain,
then,
which could have been risky.
So what are you going to find here?
He's only got Ballista, it looks like, unless there's something hiding.
Oh, he found the needle. Okay.
Oh, he does have a needle. Okay.
So yeah, this point is actually interesting because the needle, once it turns off Liliana, I think you might actually discard Griffin here though. Or do you? Man, I just like Bonde's side of the board much more, even though this is not as one-sided as the first game for sure. There's like stuff that Vincent can draw. For example, if Vincent draws what's it called? Ice Fang Codal to basically match the threats that Bonde is putting out while also getting card advantage, that would be sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something the recruiter could do, right? The recruiter could get an Ice Fang Codal. It's slowish, but he's still at 18 life and not facing an immediate threat, at least up until now.
And he's got his answer to Liliana here. He's just gonna have to discard one more thing. So I think you're right. He has to discard the Griffin.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, because he needs something to match the knight that's not just a 3/3, and he needs to answer the Liliana. So yeah, he went ahead and discarded the Miss Hologriffin.
Oh yeah, that's a great draw as well. He doesn't really have a lot of green mana, but eventually, like it uses his mana for the turn really, really well. And eventually the ooze can match the Tarmogoyf or even outgrow the Tarmogoyf.
Yeah,
that's gonna be something.
That was a good draw, like you said, especially because it lets him use his mana there.
It also allows him to basically draw a card with by removing the Mr. Hologriffin, which we talked about earlier. I don't hate it.
Oh, that's true.
Kind of like that.
Yeah,
there's a blast zone. Yeah. I was thinking about what Michael can do with the knight here. He can get blast zone, I guess, and blow up needle on the next turn. That's an option. He could also do it for 2 and blow up ooze, but then you wouldn't play Tarmogoyf here, I guess.
Yeah. So I guess,
I think he's
getting the blast zone right. I think he's going to get the blast zone right now. Make Kenobi discard his last card. That's what I think's happening. Yeah. Discard last card, and then he's just got Scoos against Goyf and
oh wait, it comes into play with a counter. What the
yeah, he did it right away. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing here.
That card is way too good. I remember why I hate it so much.
That was a really good play because now Kenobi doesn't have anything. He's got the he's got an ooze and he's got the Miss Hologriffin, but I mean that card that's not a very good. Well, does that get him? Does he get to draw one card off of that?
No, I think he should be able to not draw anything of it.
Is it XX?
Yeah, and I think it's rounded down, something like that. You can actually see it on Cardboard.Live. We can't see it in the here because it's too small right now.
Yeah.
Yes, Julian, I've faced this land many times, but for some reason I thought it came into play without a counter. Herr Schnee, since you're asking, check out like the latest news post in the articles. That is all the information, all the artists, because we worked with something like 7 different artists on this league. There's going to be a lot of that.
So Bonde is using his Loam to gain an advantage with this Liliana rather than taking meaningful draws, but I like that. That seems pretty good. I would probably just hope to draw something, but I think his play makes a lot of sense.
So what is he basically looking to do? Like he's still
he just doesn't want to. He just doesn't. He wants to discard fewer cards than his opponent. Basically, he draws 3, and his opponent discards, and he discards a Landon, and he gets back the blast zone, which can then answer the scavenging ooze.
I wonder
And
if
he's also,
Pleasant Kenobi's actually locked out of his combo by now, because he has to discard one card every turn. So even if he finds Food Chain and plays it, then Bonde...
no, he can do it because he can exile his Miss Hologriffin here. So, and then if he top
yeah, he
decks
can do that.
the Food Chain, he can use it to get a Miss Hologriffin in play. But it will just have that's it, just a Miss Hologriffin.
I guess
But then
it gives
his
him
top
some
decks are live from there because they can, once his Miss Hologriffin is in play, it can no longer, he can keep it from going to his graveyard, so he can always use it as long as he's got another creature in play.
I wonder if Bonde wants to do something like run out Blast Zone and put it on 3, even though you don't really ever want to blow it on 3 on this board. But if like something happens and he needs to get rid of Food Chain, maybe that's something he wants to do.
Yeah, I think putting it, blowing it on 3 wouldn't even be that bad if.
So,
yeah, sorry, I'm just thinking. I don't know.
Something else that I could see is if you keep dredging your Loam, you might eventually dredge over Punishing Fire, and that gives you access to. Well, Punishing Fire wouldn't be that great. I mean, there's a world where you get to use it, and kill the ooze, but that requires a very specific sequence of events where Kenobi doesn't have creep.
Kenobi found a Food Chain here. He can't play it this turn though, so he's got to put it on top of his library. Yeah, there we go.
I'm gonna play the land.
Oh. But now he's stuck drawing that second land. I think he should have maybe considered putting the fetch land in play, drawn the Food Chain next turn, and then he doesn't have to draw the other land the following turn, so he has a chance to maybe draw a Recruiter or something.
That would be my line as well, right? Michael is not very likely to waste land that fetch land, because little does he know that Pleasant Kenobi actually doesn't want to crack the fetch land.
Yeah, and not even just for the wasteland things, but just so he won't have to, because now next turn he draws Food Chain, and it allows him to get a Miss Hologriffin into play, but then the following turn he's drawing a land, so it doesn't really accomplish much.
Oh yeah. So like a tiny thing that could snowball into basically killing or being able to see one more card that could make a difference for sure.
Yeah.
Man, I thought it was October. There's still like a fly in my room that's annoying me. Anyway. It's cold in October in Germany.
So somebody, Kenxi in chat said this lets him grow Scoos one more time. So that's true. And that answers the Liliana. But then there's this, there's a Blast Zone in play. Like, I think he can just blow it for 3 and the game's over, right? Oh no, did he put 2 on there? No, just 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, I bet he puts it up to 3.
Just to make sure. But
well, also just like if it gets rid of a. Oh wait. Yeah, he can't do it here. But yeah, he might put it up to 3 to make sure. Knowing that not too much bad can happen to him. Well, now if he blows it for 2, then there's just a Food Chain in play, which I think that locks it up, right?
It should, right? The Food Chain is coming down, but what's going to happen afterwards?
Yeah, he'll wait and see what Kenobi does, and Kenobi will play the Food Chain, and then he'll blow the thing on 2, and then there will be a lethal Knight in play, and Kenobi can just gain 1 life, so he's 6.
So maybe you want to play the Mr. Griffin instead?
Yeah.
I think you must play the Mr. Griffin there then, in the face of the Blast Zone.
Yeah, playing Food Chain is just lethal. I mean,
you can play Food Chain and then sack the ooze to play Mr. Griffin, I guess.
He would just blow it in response, yeah.
True.
So he saw that and played the food or the Miss Hologriffin for that reason. So and now we're looking at 2 chump blockers, or just 1 chump blocker, and there's that also lethal. I can't see the
Goif should be lethal too, because now there's Liliana in the graveyard as well.
Well, Goif would die if he blew up the thing on 2, so it's
that's why I'm thinking he doesn't need to do it, so he can. Oh yeah, that's actually the smart play. He puts
he put it up to 4 because that gets rid of one of the 2 chump blockers. And he can double wasteland himself if the Knight's not big enough, or just single wasteland.
Yeah,
that gets rid of 2 lands.
But basically, he's putting like 3 lands into the graveyard this turn, So the knight would easily be big enough at that point.
Yeah,
I think that's it. I think that should lock up the game.
looks like it.
Didn't really expect that outcome, by the way. I need to send Anorak a picture. Can you take it from here for a moment?
Yeah, I'd like to see more of this matchup. Like, I wonder if they played 10 games, if it would all look like this, or what would happen. Because we both thought that Food Chain might be favored, even though I do usually 4-color Loam's good against blue decks, so it's hard to say. I'd be curious. I haven't seen this matchup a lot.
So, so for the next match, we are gonna have Caleb Durward, one of the absolute madman of Legacy. I want to say, like, he's come up with so many awesome texts. Something like some stuff you've never seen before. He's actually the guy who got Survival banned at least Legend, and he's brought an interesting deck that we're gonna check out in a moment here. But let me get something to Anorak here first. Oh, also, by the way, I totally forgot about this. We're actually going to run a raffle here, right, Anorak? So let's actually get into that as well. So yeah, you see it here on screen. This stream and a lot of Legacy content that you see all over Twitch is brought to you by Card Hoarder. Card Hoarder is literally one of the major reasons that we get to produce this today. And they're giving away something awesome. They're giving away 6 Dragon Dice. So if you want to pimp your game, if you want to level up your game, you can get these Dragon Dice. And you actually, let me start the thing in chat. Oh, where's my chat? So no, people.
We haven't started yet, guys. Wait a minute. Although those dice are super cool. And Card Hoarder is awesome.
Now I'll give away a start.
I do it now.
Okay, now you can get in.
If you typed it before the giveaway line on there, type it again.
We're gonna give you something like half a minute or a minute for everybody to get in, and then we're gonna draw the winner. And the winner, best would be if you guys just send me a message on Twitch. Let me know where you live and if you don't mind what your name is. But I think in the US you actually don't need a name to receive stuff. In Germany you do. And then we have them shipped to you like pretty soon. Also, Anorak, I'm gonna send you a picture on Facebook. Done. Okay, so people are still getting in. Whoa, people really want those. Honestly, I want.
I want to type it in, but then if I win, I'll.
You know when Phil last season randomly picked somebody from chat that had like a Death in Texas name, and I was only hearing him, and he was doing it to troll because he's associated with Death in Texas. Yeah. I actually had that person their playmat delivered to until we found out, oh damn, we did like a double thing, and then we sent out 2 playmats that week. So yeah, I'm gonna give everybody like 10 more seconds, and then we're gonna draw the lucky winner and see who's it gonna be. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's find out who won. And the winner is Steady85. Steady85. You're the awesome, proud owner of 6 new Dragon Dice. So send me a message on Facebook. Send me a message on Twitch. Let me know where you live, and we'll have them shipped to you in no time. Enjoy the dice and roll a lot of dragons. Is that cheesy? I was gonna try to come up with a line.
It's pretty good.
Okay, so we see Michael moving on. Michael is in the winners final. Takes down another match, then he's gonna be guaranteed to be in the loser bracket. He gets to go to bed early. But he's gonna have tough competition. He's either gonna face Bryant Cook or Caleb Durward, and both have brought really good decks and also skills to the table. So we're gonna see that in the next match. I think the decks are already public, right? So we can talk about that for a little moment while Anorak sets up. And
sure.
Yeah, we have where do I start? Like Ursa Echo deck on Caleb's side, and Brian brought humans. That's gonna be interesting. So we see Caleb's deck over here.
I think you're so Brian Cook is playing humans. I think you're right that there was a lot of metagaming going on, and I don't think this is the deck that Brian Cook thought he was metagaming for.
No, not at all. Like he told me what he expected everybody to be on, and decent decks against Storm. And on top of that, like that's something Brian did last season, right? He played the entire playoffs without ever touching Storm or like the Epic Storm. because he wanted to say and prove that he's more than just like a one-trick pony, that he's actually like, he goes way back. He is playing Legacy for longer than I have, and that means something, I guess. And yeah, he's really skilled. And but actually, since we got Caleb's deck on screen right now, let's talk about that. So Caleb brought his latest brew. I think, I'm not sure if it's his brew, but it certainly strikes me as a Caleb deck, right? It has 4, 8, 12, 13 Planeswalker. There's a current Scion of Ursa hiding with the cards in the middle. And then, yeah, it's pretty straightforward Stompy deck, I want to say, that's accelerating out Planeswalkers, but it also has the option of having a lot of fast mana, and lines I diamonding are Echo of Eons. So, do you like this deck? Is this something you want to play?
I want to watch it. It's not a deck I think I would really. I mean, it's a deck that looks to me like high variance, so it can be a lot of fun or a lot of not very much fun.
Yeah, I guess that's what you get when you sign up for Caleb's decks.
Yeah,
but
so
yeah,
I'm excited
really
to
looking
watch
forward
it.
to seeing this. I really hope that we're going to see our Ursa Lord High Artificer. Actually, I lied. There's only 9 Planeswalkers. I counted Ursa as a Planeswalker. I only just now realized it's not.
No, there's more than 9. There's yeah, you're right. There's 9. You're right. I did too. So
yeah, this deck.
Urza is a 4-drop that kind of acts like a Planeswalker because it gains an advantage on its own with by tapping for. You get to tap your artifacts to generate mana, and then you can play a random card from your deck, right?
Pretty much, right? So a sweet play that you can make with that deck is you can line on the very first turn, you make your land drop, then you play Lion's Eye Diamond, and you Echo of Eons. And what that does, basically, it reduces the game to both players start the game with 7 random cards. They cannot mulligan, but you start with a land in play, which is like a huge advantage in that kind of weird format. That's in the past, it was like a vintage play when people would go turn 1 Lotus Twister, Time Twister to this, and play a land first. So it's basically card advantage, while also like adjusting the variance in your favor. And I could see that coming up with this deck, and would be hilarious, even though it might lead to a lot of
well, yeah, that's where the high variance thing comes in, because I don't really know how much that puts things into your favor. It really depends on what you're playing against.
Something that this deck does differently from previous Echo of Aeons decks that we've seen, it's not really going for like a ton of mana and finishing off the opponent with a walking. Instead, it's really just like playing out a ton of relevant cards, and then can also basically KO you by getting Narset plus Echo of Aeons, which empties your entire hand. And if that hits you early, then it's going to be a huge problem.
Yeah, it has a lot of ways to generate card advantage. It has difficult to beat Planeswalkers at 4 mana, and it has some lock pieces. So it's certainly a powerful deck, and I think this is probably favored against humans. I haven't played that matchup. I played quite a bit of humans. I think this deck looks a little bit too explosive and too diverse for humans to be able to keep up, but we will see. What do you think?
Yeah, I asked the players, and both Bryant and Caleb agreed that humans probably gonna be, I want to say, reasonably favored in this matchup. So it's gonna be an uphill battle for Caleb. I think humans is just quite. I mean, you were trying to sell me on the deck, right? On the last, I think it was the last everyday chart when we talked about that. I wasn't like fully convinced of it, and you kept pushing and lobbying for it.
I think it's the best tribe out there right now.
I thought for a moment you were gonna call it like the best legacy deck.
Anurag, your notepad is on the. Oh wait, no, that's on my thing. Never mind.
Yeah, that's only something we see.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So yeah, I don't know about this matchup in particular, but I think humans is potentially the best tribe in Legacy right now. So hopefully Brian Cook can show that I'm right about that.
Let's see if it's going to be humans or Ursa. So we're going to go to a short break here. And after that, we're going to come back and bring you this awesome match between
Wait,
Brian
can we
Cook
show the
and
humans
Caleb
before we go?
Okay, sure. I think Andrea can do that.
All right, cool.
He's the master of doing that stuff. Look at that sweet background. You're seeing the humans list right now? I think it's pretty stock, right? It's playing 3 Tomic, which is probably a concession to Ren 6. Only 2 meddling mages. You often see 4, but I could see that being like a metagame concession. I think Bryant wouldn't really expect a lot of like combo decks where he would want that again.
I think it would be pretty good here, but yeah, only 2 is a little. I think you usually see 3, but not not 4 that often. And he's not playing the new card, the Prince. What is it called?
Charming Prince.
Yeah, that's a card that a lot of people are playing in Humans, and I tried it, and I wasn't completely impressed by it. So I'm not shocked that he's not playing it.
So yeah, with that, we're gonna cut to our BR back screen. We're gonna be back in a couple minutes while we set up for the second match. So stay with us and enjoy some sweet pixel art and music. Actually, I titled this piece of music that's coming up